Good evening, students. We'll get started. Yeah. So we'll get started with the continuation of yesterday's topics. So yesterday I told you two important things, right? What were they? When you talk about an alternating current, there are different values that we can define. One is the instantaneous value. So how do you define the instantaneous value? I will be equal to I naught sine omega t, right? Where this I is called as the instantaneous value, I naught is called as the peak value, omega is called as the angular frequency, and time is obviously the instant at which you need to find the value of I, right? Just give me a minute. Then we have the average value of AC, which is defined for half a time period. So how is the average value given as? It is 0.637 times I naught, or 2 divided by pi times I naught. Similarly, you have I RMS, which is defined for a complete cycle, and its value comes out to be I naught divided by root 2, or 0.0707 times I naught. Right? So with the basics in our mind, so one point that need to be remembered is this instantaneous value stands for alternating current, but I average and I RMS represent the direct current, because these are the direct equivalent. These are the equivalent direct currents which are generated from the alternating current. Okay, so 0.707 times I naught is what the question is. Okay. Now, the next important topic that we are going to see is, see, the whole chapter runs on this concept only, phasors and phasor diagrams. That is what they expect you to draw. Or else, in problem, they will give you these things and ask you to calculate certain values. Okay. So, phasors and phasor diagram. So, what is the definition for it? Let's see. So, if you have a rotating vector, so we generally have, for alternating values, we have I is equal to I naught sine omega t, right? This is a sinusoidally varying value, right? So when you talk about the sinusoidally varying value, I need to draw the graphs like this. This is a graph for a sine function, right? So it is a sinusoidally varying one. For this thing, if you need to draw the graph every time for alternating current and alternating voltage, it gets difficult, right? So as a replacement of it, we are going to find an alternate way of representing the same sinusoidally varying functions, for which we take the help of vectors. Okay. So the important point is, you should not get confused with the fact that why are we using vectors for current? No. Okay, because current is a scalar quantity. We are not using vectors to represent current. We are only taking the help of, instead of drawing, we are only taking the help to understand how the graph between how the relation between the EMF and the current will be represented in terms of angles. Because I told you yesterday, right, there is a concept called as leading and lagging. So for you to understand which one is leading and which one is lagging, we need a diagram called as a phasor diagram. But before we draw what is a phasor diagram, we need something called as phasors. Okay, let's get started. So basically, a phasor is a rotating vector that represents a sinusoidally varying quantity. See, for example, I have current. I is equal to I naught sine omega t. It's a sinusoidally varying quantity. Similarly, I is equal to I naught cos omega t. It is also a sinusoidally varying function. So if these two functions can be represented with the help of a vector which is rotating, okay, then those kind of vectors are called as phasors. Okay. So please write down the definition. A rotating vector that represents sinusoidally varying quantity is called as a phasor. First. So there are some important points we kept in our mind with respect to these phasors. The first one is, this vector is imagined to rotate with an angular velocity equal to the angular frequency of that quantity. Okay. This vector is assumed to be revolve with angular velocity equal to the angular frequency of the quantity. Second, each vector has a magnitude, right? So the length, that is the magnitude of the spacer, will represent the amplitude of the quantity, and its projection upon the fixed axis gives the instantaneous value of that quantity. Okay. Third, the phase angle between these two quantities is shown as the phase angle between their phases. Okay. And the last is, the study of AC circuits is greatly simplified if we treat alternating currents and voltages as phasor. It is only to simplify the study they have found something like this. Okay. Now it is time for me to explain all these points. Listen to this carefully, guys. Let's say, so first important point to be noted when you're drawing the phasor diagram, it is basic x-axis that is taken along x, and it is the y-axis that is taken along y. As simple as that. Okay. Next. If I have a vector like this, okay, then this vector can be called as a phasor if it is able to rotate like this. Okay. So when I say it is rotating vector, the rotating vector is always taken in the anti-clockwise direction, and this angle is generally taken as omega t, where this phasor is assumed to revolve with the same, with the angular frequency as that of the quantity. So what do I mean by angular frequency of the quantity? For example, I is equal to I naught sine omega t is there, right? The speed with which the phasor is revolving is equal to omega. Okay, that is the angular frequency with which it is revolving. Next, if I take the length, that is the magnitude of this vector, the magnitude of the vector represents the amplitude. So I is equal to I naught is there, no? So the distance between the points O and A represents I naught. And the projection of this quantity onto the coordinate axis, projection means dropping perpendiculars. So projection of this quantity onto the coordinate axis will give you the instantaneous value. So this value is I. Are you guys able to understand this? Right?
This point,
so if you are able
can I repeat, sir?
Which point?
The projection that.
Yeah, I'll do that. See, are you clear with amplitude?
Yes, sir.
Amplitude is clear, right? Okay, nothing. So you take the endpoint of the tip of the vector. Generally, if the quantity, the physical quantity that you're taking is a function of sine, not cos. If it is a function of sine, from the tip of the vector, you will drop a perpendicular onto the y-axis. So from O, there is a point M, which is the foot of the perpendicular of the projection. That OM distance represents the instantaneous value of current is what I'm trying to say. Why it is so? It is very simple. Yeah. Okay. Why? See, this is I naught, correct? If I drop a perpendicular, then this distance is same as OM. Correct? So let me call this as P. Now, if I take the triangle OA or OPA, then this angle is omega t, this angle is I naught. If I take this as y, what is y divided by I naught equal to?
It's sine omega t.
So sine omega t. So y is equal to I naught will go to the other side. I naught sine omega t. Then what is y? Is that not the instantaneous value?
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, that is the reason. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So these are the three important points that you need to have in your mind. So going forward, what we will do is, for an AC source connected across different kinds of passive elements like resistor, inductor, capacitor, we will be drawing graphs as well as phasor diagrams. So this kind of a diagram where the phasor, that is the rotating vectors along with the angles, are shown. So these kind of diagrams where the phases along with the angles are shown is generally called as the phasor diagram. Okay. So what is the phasor diagram? It is basically a diagram, okay, that represents alternating current and voltage of the same frequency as rotating vectors along with the proper phase angle between them. Okay. So if current and voltage are represented on the same graph sheet as rotating vectors along with the angle between them, the phase angle between them, then those kind of diagrams are what are called as phasor diagrams. Okay. Now I'll show you an example of how to draw the phasor diagram. See, for example, these are the voltages and the current. Suppose I take the EMF to be E naught sine omega theta, and I is equal to I naught sine of omega t plus phi. Okay. Where this phi is called as the initial phase, or more technically, it's called as EPOC. It's called as epoch. Okay. That is a technical name given. That's it. But basically, it means initial phase. Like how you say, for example, E is equal to, okay, let me take this example. Y is equal to sine pi by 6, or y is equal to sine of pi by 6 plus pi by 2. Then this pi by 2 will be the initial phase. Okay. Just as an example, okay. So, if we need to draw the phasor diagram for this, then how are we going to draw? Is what I'm going to explain it now. So concentrate. This is X, so this is Y. Sharia. E is equal to E naught sine omega t is there now. Okay. So generally, when you take the phasor diagram for E naught, you ensure that the value of E naught is longer. That is, the magnitude of E vector should be longer. The reason being, E is the input that you get and I is the output that you get. So input obviously has to be more. So this value, if I 1 minute, sorry. This value, if I take it as E naught, then if I drop a perpendicular onto the y-axis, then how much will this distance be, guys? It is E naught sine omega t. No, it is the projection of any vector onto the y-axis is the instantaneous value of that vector. So here it is a projection of EMF. That is why it is E naught sine omega t. That is the instantaneous value of EMF. Okay. But I naught, what is happening? In addition to making a rotation of omega t, it is making an additional rotation of phi. Correct? Means if I start here, at omega t, they will coincide. Apart from omega t, it is taking an extra turn also. Okay. And this angle, I will call it as phi. So if I drop a perpendicular onto the y-axis, this distance is going to be I naught sine omega t, and this distance. Guys, are you able to understand? So this is the phasor diagram example. Because what we are doing, we are representing both the sinusoidally varying functions along with the phase angle between them. Right. Shall I proceed?
Yes.
So the first thing is, what will happen when you connect the AC source across a resistor? So you have you know how an AC source is represented, a circle with a wave like this. So if they give you something like this is DC. They give something like this. There is an AC source. Okay. So AC circuit containing resistance only. So for this, what we are supposed to do is, as shown in figure, suppose a resistor of resistance capital R is connected to a source of alternating EMF given by E is equal to E naught sine omega t. Okay. So this kind of a circuit where an alternating circuit source is connected only to a resistor is called as a purely resistive circuit. This is what you call it as. Okay. Suppose if I be the current in the circuit at instant t, then the potential drop across the resistor will be I into R. Okay. Then can I write I is equal to E divided by R? So instantaneous current is equal to instantaneous voltage divided by the resistance. So I will be equal to E is I naught sine, E naught sine omega t divided by R, where E naught by R is I naught. So I naught sine omega t is the value of instantaneous current. Guys, did you understand? So when you connect an AC source across a pure resistor element, then whatever is the angle, whatever is the phase of the EMF, the same will be the phase for the current also. Means they both will be in the same phase. Phase means PHAS, guys. So phase generally means angle. So they both will be at the same phase. Okay. So I hope you guys have made a note of these points. Done? Now listen. Now we need to draw the graphs for this, right? So E is equal to E naught sine omega t. When I draw it on a graph sheet, E comma I. So the graph for E naught sine omega t will be something like this. Accepted?
Yes.
Well, because this is the graph of sine function. Okay, where this peak value is called as E naught, right? And this equation represents E naught sine omega t. Okay. Now what about I naught? So with respect to I naught, what I will do is I will draw some dotted lines. Okay, where these dotted lines represent I naught sine omega t, and when you drop a perpendicular from here, this value will be I naught. Are you clear with this?
Yes.
So this is the graphical representation of the relation between EMF and current. Whereas when you draw the phasor diagram, what will happen is, if this represents E naught sine omega t, then this will represent I naught sine omega t. Because both are making the same angle with the x-axis. X-axis, y-axis. So I naught is I naught sine omega t. Sorry. E will be equal to E naught sine omega t, and they both are making the same angle omega t with the x-axis, right? Hence, across a pure resistive circuit, okay, across a pure resistive circuit, EMF and current are said to be in phase. EMF and current are said to be in phase. Guys. So, how the questions can be asked in your exam is, they'll give you this kind of a graph and ask you that the AC source is connected across what kind of a device. That time you should say it is connected across a pure resistive device. Similarly, they can give you a phasor diagram and ask you, this is an example of which device, not example. The AC source is connected across which device. That time also you should be in a position to answer it. Okay. So inductor I will do as the third part. Now we will see AC circuit containing only capacitor, means the same AC source is there. In the previous case, what did we have? We had resistor, but now instead of resistor, you have only capacitor. Okay. Then what is going to happen? Now the important point, so this is called as a pure capacitive circuit. Now listen guys, we know that E is equal to E naught sine omega t. So E is equal to E naught sine omega t. Okay, well. Now, what is the, so we always need to find for the given input E naught, what is going to be the corresponding output, that is I. So we know the formula that the charge that is getting stored on the capacitor is equal to C into V. Correct, Adam? So Q is equal to C into V, where C is the capacitance. So C into, in the place of V, can I write it as E naught sine omega t? So this is the value of Q. Now what I will do is differentiate on both sides. If I do that, dq by dt will be equal to C into E naught into d by dt of sine omega t. Now I want you guys to tell me what is the derivative of sine omega t. First of all, what is dq by dt? It is the instantaneous value of current. So C into E naught into derivative of sine omega t is how much? What is the derivative of sine omega t? Cos omega t into omega.
Cos omega t.
Correct?
Omega, yes.
So this will be equal to C omega c into E naught into cos omega t. This is where the tricky part starts. So E naught divided by this omega c, I will take it to the denominator. So it will become 1 by omega c into this cos of omega t is there, no? I can write it as either sine of pi by 2 plus omega t or sine of pi by 2 minus omega t. For sine 90 plus theta is also cos theta, sine 90 minus theta is also cos theta. First and the second quadrant. But out of these two, which one should I choose? Tell me, guys. At least guess, no? So I should take sine of pi by 2 plus omega t, because you gave the input in terms of plus omega t, the output should also have plus omega t. That is the logic. Sharia? So I will be equal to E naught divided by 1 by omega c into sine of pi by 2 plus omega t. You can ask me, sir, you could have left it in cos itself, right? Why did you write it in terms of sine? It is because I took the input function in terms of sine, the output should also be in terms of sine. It is easy for us to draw the graph. Correct? And the phasor diagram also. So I will be equal to this E naught divided by 1 by omega c. You can call it as I naught into sine of pi by 2 plus omega t. Okay. Or the more better way of writing it is omega t plus pi by 2. Okay. Clear? Is there any doubt, guys? So I hope you guys have made a note of all these points. Right? Now listen.
Yes.
Now listen. There are very, very important points that I need to tell you. Let me see if I have some space. So listen. So we had E is equal to E naught sine omega t and I is equal to I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2. Correct? Now, if I observe the phase between E naught and E and I, I'm able to observe that the current is leading the voltage. Voltage means this thing, AC, AC voltage. Current is leading the voltage by pi by 2. Okay, current is leading the voltage by pi by 2. Okay. So for this, when you try to draw the graph, this is time, this is EMF and current. This E is equal to E naught sine omega t. And the graph for I is equal to I naught sine omega t will be something like this. Means the instant the value of EMF is 0, at the instant the value of EMF is 0, the current will be maximum. And at the instant the current is maximum, EMF will be, sorry, the instant at which EMF is maximum, current will be 0, and the vice versa keeps happening. And this is the graph for I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2. And this is the graph for E naught sine of omega t. Clear? Okay, this is in terms of graph. Now, we need to see in terms of phasor. So if this is the graph for E, okay, then the graph for I will be something like this. Means to this already existing omega t, there will be an extra distance of pi by 2. Right. So this distance will be E naught and this distance will be I naught. And when you drop a perpendicular, then this height will be E naught sine omega t, and this height will be I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. Okay, this is the phasor diagram for a pure capacitive circuit. So now we are able to understand. We say that the current is leading the voltage by pi by 2. Guys, done? They respond something.
Yes.
No. Listen. So when I take E is equal to E naught sine omega t and I is equal to I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2, what is the value that we replace with I naught? If you see, I naught was equal to E naught divided by 1 by omega c, correct? Then if you observe, this 1 by omega c is what is called as the capacitive reactance. It's called capacitive reactance. Okay. So this capacitive reactance is represented by the symbol Xc. Okay. So Xc will either be equal to 1 by omega c, or it can be written as 1 divided by omega can be written as 2 pi f into c. So X is equal to 1 by 2 pi f into c. Here, an important point to be noted is the graph between Xc and f will be like this. The graph between Xc and f will be a rectangular hyperbola like this, since Xc is inversely proportional to f. Okay, that is one point. Secondly, for direct current, we know that the frequency is 0. Since for direct current, the frequency is 0, when you substitute it here, Xc will be equal to infinite, which implies capacitors do not allow do not allow direct current to pass through them. Capacitors do not allow direct current to pass through them. They will allow only alternating current to pass through them. Okay. So this is all about the alternating source connected across the capacitor. Okay. Next, we will see for inductor. And let's see how to draw the phasor diagram and everything. So when AC source is connected across an inductor, when AC source is connected across an inductor, we know that the EMF is E is equal to E naught sine omega t, and let the inductance be L. Okay, then we know that E is equal to minus L into di by dt from the previous chapter. So we can write E is equal to L into di by dt. Okay. So what is the value of E? E is E naught sine omega t is equal to L into di divided by dt. So di is equal to E naught divided by L into sine omega t dt. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we will be integrating on both sides. When you integrate on both the sides, you get I is equal to E naught divided by L into integral of sine omega t dt. Okay. So I will be equal to E naught by L into, what is the integral of sine omega t? It is minus cos omega t divided by omega. So when you take that into consideration, I will be equal to E naught divided by omega L. E naught divided by omega L into what? Minus cos omega t. Please make a note till this point. Okay, so I is equal to E naught divided by omega L into minus cos omega t. Sharia. So this E naught by omega L is what I call it as I naught into minus cos omega t is there. No, how can I write it? So this we will write it as sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Okay. So I is equal to I naught into sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Clear? So having all these points in mind, we will draw I'll show you everything. What is that to draw? So E is equal to E naught sine omega t and I is equal to I naught sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Okay. So if you observe, what can you say is the relation between current and EMF? What is the relation between I and E? So in the previous case, what did I say? The relation between current and the EMF. The previous case, what did you get? Why are you people not talking? The case of capacitance, what was the relation? E naught sin omega t. I was I naught into sin of omega t plus pi by 2. Here it is minus pi by 2. So what is the meaning? Current is
Not in phase, and will be less than
lagging.
lag. Yeah.
So we say current is lagging the voltage. Okay. So when you look at the phase difference, then when you draw the graphs, right? If the graph of E is like this, okay, then the graph of I will be in such a way that it will start from here. So E will be equal to E naught sin omega. So this is the graphical representation. And when you draw the phasor diagram, then what will happen is, if this is the phasor diagram for E, okay, then which makes an angle omega t, then I naught will be in this direction. Then I naught will be exactly in the opposite direction, where the angle between them is going to be pi by. So there is a phasor diagram. And a last point to be noted here is I naught is equal to E naught divided by omega L. This omega L is what we call it as XL. Okay. This XL is called as the inductive reactance. This XL is called as the inductive reactance. And XL can also be written as omega into L, or this is written as 2 pi F into L. Okay. So in this case, an important point to be noted is for DC source, F is 0. So when you take and substitute it here, XL will be equal to 0. Means inductor allows DC to pass through it. Inductor will allow DC to pass through it, and it will completely cut off AC. Whereas a capacitor will allow only AC to pass through and completely cut off DC. Okay. Am I clear till this point? Any doubt? Okay. So that's it. So that is with respect to purely resistive, purely capacitive, and purely inductive circuit. Okay. Next, we are supposed to see the combination of these two, like combination of two taken at a time. You guys will be able to understand that only if you master this phasor diagram. Okay. So only if you are able to master this phasor diagram, I can proceed with the further things. So I suggest you all to revise and come. I repeat it again, this chapter is not easy. The chapter is not at all easy. If you guys are going to be like this, you're going to learn nothing from it. Okay. 1 hour of my time and your time is useless. That's all I can say. So if you have nothing to do, don't waste my time on this. You tell me in advance so that I'll record and give it. If it is going to be one-way communication, it's better I record and give it, right? You guys sit and watch it at your comfortable time. I've told this many times. Anyways, I'm done for the day. I'll see you in the next class. You guys can